Greetings, Blood Bowlers, and welcome back to a brand new episode of All or Nuffle. I'm fairly certain that people might have forgotten who we are, Gary.
I think they might have. I think they may well have.
Yeah.
So what's All or Nuffle all about then, Baz? What is it?
Yeah, welcome to the first ever episode of All or Nuffle.
The first of Series 2.
So we've been gone for about, more than that, about 2.5 months. Just life got in the way, didn't it, Gary?
I think life does get in the way, doesn't it, a little bit sometimes?
Yeah.
I think there was genuinely a lot of life getting in the way, but actually I'm just come off the back of 6 weeks being off work because, for want of a better word, I was a little bit mentally tired. So, yeah, it's absolutely okay to say that you're not okay sometimes, and I wasn't. So
Yeah.
Back at work today. We've been chatting quite a lot, haven't we, through the whole of the last few months. And,
God, yeah, this is not first time we're speaking since last episode. We pretty much talk daily.
Yeah, I think it was having you as a mate that's pushed me over the edge, really. We're completely honest. It's all good. All back and smiling and all happy again, mate.
I'm very glad to hear that, mate, and I'm sure that anybody listening to it will be just as glad as I am, mate. So, in a sabbatical, what have you been up to, mate?
Well, the last 6 weeks was a bit of a write-off, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah.
Because of work. But prior to that, when was the last episode? Was it April?
The end of April, the 30th of April was the last episode, which is just crazy, mental. That's crazy. How fast has that gone?
There are quite a few people I talk to, either at tournaments that I go to or locally in some of our leagues and some of the casual games that are still talking to me about listening to the episodes, and I'm like, bloody hell, I haven't recorded one of those with Baz for so long. And how are you still only just listening to them now? So people are still listening. I don't know if it's I think we're still above treble figures, but not quite into quadruple figures yet, are we? Or I don't know. Have we got any heights yet?
No, I think we're creeping on quadruple figures. Hopefully the resurgence, now we're doing episodes again, might get a bit of momentum.
Series 2, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose, do you know what? Even when I upload this, I'm actually going to put it as Series 2. Let's start with a clean slate, shall we?
Fantastic. So we've done loads since April, haven't we?
I am.
What have you been up to, Baz?
I've done fuck all, but Blood Bowl related. I haven't painted a miniature since March. I haven't attended a tournament since February. I have just been full on work, sleep, and that's it.
So, have you done anything? Have you played BB3?
I've been playing Blood Bowl 3.
We've got crossplay now, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got crossplay, and I did the same thing that I do every time a new season launches. I create a new team, and I think, this season, I'm going to give the ladder a real good go. And then after 4 games, I just don't touch it again. I hate the ladder.
I can't do it. Yeah,
it's awful.
I'm probably don't even get to 4 games. I think every single season. I think I started, what are we on now, season 5?
Yeah.
I think I started season 3 playing BB3, and yeah, I just don't get it.
Season 5 had been out for 5 days, and I was like, oh wow, I've done half a dozen games. This is the fastest I've ever done it. And you've got Hammy from Nomads putting in chat, oh yeah, I'm finally to Diamond Tier. 40 games played in 6 days or whatever. I'm like, bonkers. What the fuck?
Absolute bonkers.
Go on anyway, mate. What were you saying?
I can't remember. I think I was saying... Go on.
You were just about to say one thing I would like to cover, then I rudely interrupted you.
Did I? Mate, yeah. This is me again. We're back. For those people who are returning listeners, Gary still is an idiot.
Yeah, usual programming has returned.
I've got no idea, mate. I don't even know what I was talking about. I think we were talking about BB3 and how I don't really play. I know what I was going to say. What I wouldn't mind doing is, I know you've got it in your plans, but just not yet. It'd be really nice just to have some casual games on BB3. Nothing competitive. Just get the old what's it called? Get the old chat on, the WhatsApp chat or
Yeah.
or whatever, other versions or other different systems are available, and just have a chat with a mate, that's up at the other end of the country, like we have. We've done it a couple of times, haven't we?
Yeah.
And just play and chat and chew the fat, and I just love doing that.
Yeah, I much Blood Bowl 3, and I think I've told you this. The video game, it makes me play in such. I am a significantly worse Blood Bowl player on the video game than I am the tabletop. I don't know if it's a psychological thing that I don't take it as serious because it's a video game, but it's just I just don't try as hard.
Right.
So Blood Bowl 3 for me, I think, is much better off being as casual as you possibly can. And don't get me wrong, I know some people love the super serious, super organised side of Blood Bowl 3 leagues. I spoke to David, who we've spoke about before, who's even appeared on an episode. He's got a really good setup with his Troll Bowl, multiple divisions, super organised, and all these players that are in it absolutely love it. And I've told David this himself, so he won't mind me saying it on a podcast, that it's just as good as it is. It's just not for me. It's not the way that I like to engage with Blood Bowl 3. It's very much a matter of, finding somebody I want to play against, dropping them a message. Are you free? Let's jump on. Let's just have some giggles. I mean, me and you, Gary, like what 2 weeks ago before you went away, and we spent a full half skipping turns to try and get Hail Mary pass to work.
Could we? And then eventually somebody in the chat said, "This is how you do it." And we're like, "How do we not work that?" We've tried everything but doing that.
Yeah, and like I said, that's not to say that the super organised way of doing it that David and the guys in Troll Ball love. Like, that's not to say that's a bad way of doing it. Exactly. It's just not the way that I want to engage with Blood Bowl 3. It's not a way that makes me enjoy Blood Bowl 3. I much prefer silliness, chatting shit and all that business while I'm playing. So yeah, I think maybe we ought to organise something super casual on Blood Bowl 3.
Yeah, that's a good shout. If anybody's interested, then let us know.
Yeah, we'll have to organise something.
As long as it doesn't need any organising.
Oh God, yeah, please. If you please suggest something with absolute minimal effort, please. But yeah, other than Blood Bowl 3, mate, I've played a couple of games. I'm not saying I haven't played anything. Just casual exhibition games. But yeah, it's been a dull beginning of year, really, in terms of Blood Bowl, other than Bugman's Belt, to be fair, mate. Unlike you, who's been an absolute Blood Bowl socialite.
Yeah, I've done quite a bit, I have to say. So if it was end of April when we did so that would have been just before the NAF Championships.
And not too long after Glow Bowl.
Yes. So NAF Championships, I went into them looking for my first win. And if you can't win in a 2-dayer, if you can't win a game of Blood Bowl over 6 games, over a Swiss tournament format, then you really do need to sort yourselves out. If and if you take something strong that you're always going to get a win with, like Orcs, then. But yeah, as an idiot, I still didn't manage to get my win there. I came away with 0-3-3, so I got 3 draws, 3 losses. What did I finish? I think I finished something like 154 out of 178. Which I didn't want to end up in the bottom 10, which was good. I didn't get my win, which I was a bit disappointed at. I was a bit grumpy at the end of it all, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I wasn't anywhere near as grumpy as a couple of people who I went with. One of them was very, very grumpy. No names will be mentioned, but that was the start of a bit of a barren patch for that person, who hopefully will be coming off the end of that barren patch, or has done over the last couple of days.
One thing of note, though, Gary, is that for a long time you've been chasing that win at a tournament, and it didn't come at the NAF Champs, but it did come not long after, didn't it?
It did, yeah, it did. So every single championship, every single tournament that I've been to, I've been with my mate Brian. Right, he's from North Devon, and the two of us get on like a house on fire.
Shout out to Brian, the loveliest bloke you will ever meet.
Well, Brian actually went away on a trekking holiday to Peru. So he left me in the capable hands of my other carer, Ed, because I do need a carer. Because I am as daft as I sound. So I went to Cheltenham. I think it was called Mayhem, something Mayhem. I think it was something like that. I will find out for you. But that was up in Cheltenham. Now, the day before we went up there, and I changed to humans as well because I just wanted to get rid of the bashy lizards and orcs, and I wanted to take a step towards something a bit more dashy like Skaven and elves, but just a halfway house. So
I just want to quickly interrupt you, Gary, and just let the listeners know that I tried profusely to get you to fully transition to a dash team, but you met me in the middle and went for humans.
Well, I'll be really honest about what the reasoning behind it was. The only team I painted, and everyone knows, for those that have listened before, I absolutely detest painting. I'm not a big painter. I have more teams now than I did last time we recorded, unpainted. It has got silly. So I do need to get some painting done, but I have humans, and I still haven't decided what's going to be next. But I'm playing humans for the next few tournaments. But yeah, I went to it was called Forge Breakers Mayhem. Absolutely brilliant little shop in Cheltenham. Setup was really, really good. They've got like a bar cafe downstairs, and then a bigger room upstairs, which wasn't as oldie worldy as downstairs, but absolutely functions totally well. And it was a nice big room. I think there was 40 people there. A few faces I knew. Met one of the nomads, didn't I? So me and Ed met up with another nomad. Got a bit of a picture on the go, but I got my win. Yeah, I got my win. Took my humans, and I won a game, and I think I lost the other 2 games.
And let me just let everyone know, just a quick message to listeners really quick. Gary is about to try and convince you that this win that he got does not count. He's gonna say that he doesn't count it as a real win, and it shouldn't be down as a win. But can I just get plenty of replies to this podcast episode encouraging him that this is definitely still a win. As per the rules of the tournament, this is a win, and you should absolutely treat it as such.
Yeah, as per the rules, it was. I was going to say long story short. It's not going to be long story short because it was an eventful day. So me and Ed were messing about in the car, as you do on any boys' road trip. We were messing about in the car on the way there. And it just so happened that Cheltenham had a folk festival on the same day. So as we came into Cheltenham, genuinely, there were Morris dancers and all sorts of stuff going on. People, stopping at petrol stations, just filling up their cars and getting back in with like Morris. And we were like, oh my God, this is like a proper, folk festival is going on. So going in, we were following this car. I can't remember what make of car it was. It's a red car, and the number plate on it had the word Dan in it. And foolishly, Ed said to me, I bet you any money he's on his way to the folk festival. And we jokingly said, I bet he's called Dan. And I bet he plays a banjo. And we were messing about. And every time that we wanted to turn left, Dan turned left because we called him Dan. We actually started to call him Banjo Dan. And then when he turned right, we turned right, and it was like, bloody hell, maybe he's going to the Blood Bowl tournament, and he's not, he's not actually going to the folk festival. So we were messing about like you do. I think it's one of those ones where you had to be there, and I've told the story so many times, I'm bored of telling it, but I've got to tell everybody, then I can draw a line under it then. and we started, calling this chap in front of us in the red car Banjo Dan, right? And then eventually, as we got really close, he turned off to go to a different car park than what we were going to. It's like, yeah, he's definitely going to the folk festival. He's not going to the Blood Bowl tournament. And all was good in the world. And Ed said to me, if you get your win today, you have to change your name to Banjo Dan. And I was like, I'll think about it. And then he said, well, the email we got yesterday?
It's worth pointing out, though, Gary, you mean your NAF name, not your legal name.
Oh, no, NAF name, my legal name. Yeah, I'm now called Banjo. My last name's Dan. No, my NAF name, which was a little bit easier to change than I thought it was going to be. But So the guy who was organising it was a chap called Banjo, and his real name was Dan, which was a real coincidence. And then I turned up at this thing, and there was another chap there called his NAF name was actually Banjo from Plymouth, just down the road from me, and I've seen him at a couple of tournaments since. So everything was sort of like, you know what, I'm actually going to agree to this, Ed. If I do get it, it's a sign. It's a sign from Nuffle that my dice are going to go okay, and I'm going to win a game today. And lo and behold, I win the bloody first game, don't I? So I have to go up to the tournament organizer, who's called Banjo Unchained, I thought, something like that. I think he's called.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Banjo Unchained, and he's called Dan. And I said, look, I'm really sorry about this, and I regale this story, and he thinks I'm a little bit weird, which I think we all know I am. And he says, yeah, I've got no problem with that. I speak to the other Banjo and say, look, I'm really sorry, but this is what's happened. Would you mind terribly if I... He said, no, that's suitably silly. Let's do that. So I got this win, and the reason why it wasn't a win in my book was because we barely got to the end of the first half because we started late. The guy had to go and sort his car parking out because the parking was horrible because of the folk festival. And we barely got to the end of it. I did win in the time we're allocated, but I think he had probably 3 or 4 extra casualties on me than I had on him. So I think if we'd have played the second half in the time, he'd have probably come back and beat me. And I think he went on to get a win and a draw, or 2 wins maybe. Yeah, so he did all right on the day. It just was set up perfect. Anyway, I got 2 losses after that, and everything was good in the world. And on the way back, Ed convinced me that I absolutely should change my name to Banjo Dan, otherwise Nuffle would shit on me from a great height. So I did. So yeah, I'm now not Redbridge anymore. I'm now Banjo Dan.
Honestly, I cannot wait. It's amazing to me that somebody's at a tournament one day is going to look. Let's just say they're using tour play at a tournament, and they're going to see, I'm on table 23, and I'm playing against Banjo Dan. And they're going to rock up to the table, they're going to stick their hand out and say, hi, Dan. And you're going to have to explain how Dan is not your name and tell this story.
So you hopefully people listening to this are getting how painful it is to tell that story, right? It's definitely one of those. It's one of those ones where you had to be there, right? And it's only ever going to be funny for me and Ed, right? And maybe the few people that were there on the day might just put up with it. Yeah, and I really don't want to have to tell the story anymore. But if anybody does, then maybe we've got a recording of the story, and I could just point them in the direction of this of episode 1 in series 2 of the All or Nuffle podcast.
Just carry around a QR code on a keyring, Gary, and let them scan it.
That's a great. I'll get it tattooed on my forearm. Yeah. One thing that I haven't said as well is genuinely. Maybe Brian is my bad luck charm.
Yeah. Listen, Brian, I love you. And as I just said earlier, you are one of the nicest blokes you could possibly wish to meet. However, there are some questions around the fact that Gary, were falling out of love with Blood Bowl because they were losing that many games at tournaments, and he just so happened to be attending them all with you. And then the first time you bugger off to Peru and are not able to attend, he manages to get a win.
Just saying.
Yeah, I don't want to be the one to say it. I'm just pointing out the facts. Do you know what I mean?
So I went to the next tournament after that in Taunton, which was the Excalibur Summersword 2.
Yeah.
A great little tournament again. I think there was 22 people there, I think. And Emma runs that one. It's a really, really well-run tournament. And again, I got a win. So I think I got a win. I think it was possibly even the same. A win, 2 losses. Potentially.
Did our nomad friend Sean attend that one?
He did. That was his. I think that was his first tournament. That was his warm-up tournament.
Shout out to Sean.
Did Ed go to that one? I can't remember. I don't think Ed went to that one. I think Brian was back at that one. So Brian's maybe not a bad luck charm. Don't know. Who knows? But we haven't really gone into humans playing really well, and different rule sets as well. Humans just give me so much. They can hold their own a little bit bashy.
Yeah,
blitzers are great, ogre's great, but you've got options. You've got pick up passing and throwing and passing and catching options. You've got halflings in the mix for a thrown teammate. So you can actually set humans up and go on the attack with options.
Yep.
And swing into those options quite easily. So you can swing from side to side on the board because the movement's so much higher than Orcs is. You start with more skills than you do with a lizard team.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of really, really good benefits of having humans. I'd recommend them to anybody. They're an amazing. I think whenever you listen to people like the Andy Davo and the Bonehead guys, they always say that humans are not good at anything, but they're not bad at anything either.
Yeah.
They're really, really average at everything.
Yeah,
and they are. And actually, I would go as far as to say, you know what, they're probably above average at everything.
Yeah, jack of all trades, masters of none.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, really, really good. And I've enjoyed playing about with the skills as well, because I've been to so many tournaments, because that wasn't the only one I've been to. I've been enjoying playing with the different rule sets. You get 5 skills at this one, or 6 skills at that one, or 8 skills at that one. And it's been nice to play around with them.
What do you think at the minute, Gary, of the tournaments you've taken humans to? What do you think is that sweet spot in terms of the number of skills to be able to really do what you want with humans and have a really good crack at, potentially winning a tournament? Like, what's the... do you only need the 5 and anything more than that is a bonus, or is it more around the 7 or 8 mark?
It's a really good question. Really good question, because I haven't got the experience to probably give an answer that is going to be useful for the more experienced players. But also on top of that, if you are getting a number of skills, then everybody else is getting a number of skills.
Yeah.
Like if I was to say 8 skills would be lovely, that means everybody else is getting 8 skills. So it sort of not necessarily balances itself out, but the tiering systems as well. Definitely put humans sort of second tier. I think they're because Andy Davo's doing his tournament that I think we'll get onto in a minute. He's not gone with the 3-tier system. He's gone with is it 5 or 6 or 7-tier system?
I think it's 6, maybe 7.
So they're tier 3 in his, whereas these others have all been tier 2. I think one of them might have had them as tier 1, possibly. I don't know. I can't remember. So I've had 5 skills, 6 skills, and 8 skills, and I've had 7 skills as well. All with one. I think all with one secondary, and different TVs as well. So I've had a 1200, and I've had the lowest one I think was an 1150, maybe an 1130.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to say. I've really enjoyed playing humans with my blitzers all having skills.
Yeah.
I've not been too bothered about my ogre having a skill per se, because I think I like my catchers to have skills, because if you want them to catch, you've got to put them downfield and they're going to be isolated. They've only got strength 2, their armor's a little bit less. Their movement is brilliant, but you need to just to beef them up a little bit. So I've been aiming for things like dive and catch, block sometimes, and I've played around with Nerves of Steel.
Big fan of... I was just about to say you're a big fan of Nerves of Steel now, aren't you, Gary?
I love it. Yeah,
such a good skill. And what I like about the build up to a tournament, and when you come to roster building, is that a skill that, let's just say that me and you were attending a tournament and we'd both decided we're going to take the same team. So we've got the exact same team value to use and we've got the exact same amount of skills to allocate. And although generally we would probably go for something similar when it comes to like giving this mighty blow, giving that block, giving that dodge, like, your more core skills, like generally I think we would be pretty much the same. And I know a large majority of Blood Bowl players would be as well, because they're the popular skills, aren't they? But when you get down to the skills that are less obvious to choose, I think it's really interesting just how different everybody is. Like
Mm.
when you were experimenting early on with your human rosters, when you first switched to them, I think we had a phone call when we just we just chat shit for an hour or whatever, and you said to me, oh, what would you put on an ogre? And you said the obvious choice for me is guard, and I said, yep, that is the obvious choice, and I just said, but would you have a play around with Frenzy? Now, I have put Frenzy on an ogre before, and I absolutely loved it, but you hated it, didn't you, Gary?
You bloody muppet! That's all I've got to say to you. So I went to a tournament with Frenzy, and I bloody hated it. It
Yeah.
did nothing for me, absolutely nothing. So I took the Frenzy off the ogre because I think the next tournament I only had 5 skills, so I didn't have enough to put something on the ogre, and I put. I'd already played around pre-tournament with 2 guard and 2 mighty blow, but actually I put 4 guard on all my blitzers, and oh my god, they just are brilliant at assists.
Absolutely.
Amazing, just amazing. And I get right. If you've got 5 skills, there's people going to be taking block and dodge and all of that sort of stuff, and you've got the chance of hitting some blodgers. But so you're left a little bit wanting because all you've got on those blitzers is your block. But guard's just so useful because you can play them then a bit more bashy than you would have done.
Oh, absolutely.
What I'm playing with at the moment now is putting guard on the ogre and having 2 guard, 2 mighty blow on the blitzers.
Yeah.
Just playing around with that at the moment. So I'm going to take that to the tournament at the weekend that we're going to talk about in a minute.
Yeah, I think that's a nice configuration.
Yeah, and then there's what do you put on the throws and the catches, and I think there's a whole bunch of options there. The obvious for a halfling, if you've got extra skills, or if you're playing in a league, is get sneaky, get on straight away as soon as you can, because they're beautiful for dodging in and hitting a few fouls, aren't they?
Oh god, yeah, absolutely.
And I also went to another tournament. So again, I went to another tournament, and you'll never guess what. I didn't get a win. No, I got 2 draws and a loss, which is it's better than a kick in the nads. So yeah, I was really happy with that. That was in Exeter. That was David's the Troll Bowl, Southwest.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely great tournament. I had a really, really good laugh there. And actually, there was 40 people there. I know he had to change the venue and what have you, because he had a really, really nice big venue prior to that. It was a little bit cramped and warm because it was a really hot day. But it was a really, really well. He did a good job organising that, and I think a lot of people said that they're looking forward to that being an annual event down in the southwest. I think he's actually doing another one at that venue. November-ish. I don't know.
All right, okay.
Sure. But yeah, he's up for doing another one, I think. And I bought a pitch, so I've been waiting for Half Forge Games to deliver all of their Kickstarters so that I can buy. And I've been on at the poor guy over there for ages. So, and I eventually bought this. It's a neoprene, very, very thin. They do a thick and a thin one. It's a thin neoprene, but covered in flock, and the squares are different colours of flock.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
They are really nice pictures, really nice.
Yeah, so big shout out to him. I know he's eventually got, I think he's getting his website and all that sorted out, but he turned up, he gave one as a prize, I think, for first place, but I had to buy one. I've been hassling him for so long, and when I saw it, I was like, yeah, please, I'll have that one there, I'll have that. I played on that last night with Brian.
Oh, very nice. Do you want to tell him what score were last night between you and Brian?
No, I don't. Genuinely,
sure?
I don't. No.
It might be a bad omen to mention it before weekend.
I think it was. We both had a practice match with our rosters for the weekend, for the tournament at the weekend, and he literally pulled my pants down and spanked me hard. I lost 7-2. No, 6-2. 6-2. So my human team against his Skaven, and as can happen with Skaven, if you don't hit them hard, which I wasn't able to do for the first, best part of half a dozen goes, and if you don't roll when you're about to score, then they're unforgiving. They just take advantage. There was a point, I think we said 7 or 8 players of his were off the pitch. I think he only had the one sub, I had 2. But it was just too late then. But that was probably turn 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
He was already 4-1 up, I think. And it was like, you know what? And I still continued to, my thrower decided even with pass on a 2+, he wasn't going to throw and stuff like that. It was, yeah. So, that was a wake-up call. So he came round, had a roast dinner after work, and we played a game of Blood Bowl on the new game.
How rude is that for him to have a roast dinner and then beat you?
Mate. And then my wife came in and asked what score it was and then pointed and laughed at me.
I think, to be fair, I wasn't very... You messaged me the scoreline afterwards, and I think my immediate response was, isn't that a touchdown for Brian every, 2.6 turns?
Better than that, probably. So I said to the missus today that, you don't get, 6 touchdowns in a game. But actually, I remember in a league game on BB3 last season, I did get a 6-0 win. And I was playing Skaven. So, if it goes right for you with Skaven, you can absolutely annihilate people. But they are a bit squidgy.
Yeah, you've got to hope that your opponent doesn't get the removals that they so desperately want.
Yeah, so it's good. Yeah, it was good.
Very good. Good. So that's what you've been...
I played a lot of league games as well. So,
oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, tell us, how did you finish up in your first season of that league?
Oh, that's a good question. I think there was 8 people. I think I finished 5th.
8. It's not bottom. It's not bottom.
I think it was 5th or 6th I finished. I definitely didn't come in the top 3. And we're in season 2 now. I have gone in with humans, so I'm enjoying playing those. Obviously, quite a lot of unplanned skills coming in because you do try and randomise a few when you like them. And my ogre is absolutely killing it in the league. I think he's now just got his 2nd chosen skill.
Jesus.
I know, he's just absolutely causing...
After 4 games?
After 3 games.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're just about in sort of round 4 now.
Wow.
What has he got? Let's have a look, shall we? Let's have a look. So standings, I'm 3rd. I've won 2 out of 3. My ogre has got guard and grab. Grab was a random.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, and still got 2 SPP as well. So,
very nice. Grab's not terrible in an ogre, to be fair, though.
Well, it was one of those ones. Do I random or do I wait? And I was like, you know what? There wasn't too many bad choices in there. It was just 1 or 2 you wanted to avoid.
Yeah.
I'm thinking grab's not bad because I can pull them. It's a bit of crowd control.
Yeah.
I tell you what, as well. I know we haven't spoken since or done a podcast since April, and I know my line was always I've only been playing about a year. I'm well over a year now on ISO, but I tell you what, I've learned so much in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
But still so far away from knowing everything. I don't think you ever will, but
no, definitely not.
I definitely feel like I'm sort of at the top end of the novice and playing around with the intermediate sort of knowledge level.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting. So you I mean, I hope you don't mind me saying, mate, but there were a brief period while you were still waiting for your win at a tournament where I think it's fair to say you were getting a little bit disheartened.
Yeah.
And we had a chat, and I don't know if we've really ever mentioned it on podcast, but sort of like mine and yours motto between each other is organic growth.
Yeah.
And we adapted that to slightly fertilized organic growth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you kind of towing the line between not working ridiculously hard to win and get better, but you want to just grow naturally, but you want to stimulate that by, I don't know, whether it's challenging yourself to play against teams that you don't really play against, or taking teams that are new like you did by taking humans. So yeah, you've come on. I'd even say in the last 3 months, to be fair, mate. You've changed your team. You're experimenting with different skills. You're taking all the right steps to broaden your Blood Bowl horizons, mate.
And I think for anybody listening that's relatively new, I think the only thing you can really do is just play the game.
Yeah.
Right, and not, if you want to take, I'm not the type of person that will take this seriously. I'm not, I'm not keen on becoming, like a semi-amateur, Blood Bowl player that's going to expect to be on the top table every tournament at all. That's not why I play it. I play it because it's really, really good fun. The learning's great, the variety and the complexity is brilliant. There's loads and loads and loads to learn. You're just never ever going to stop learning. So, and the people, the community is actually, probably one of the best gaming communities that there are
Easily.
out there. So I'm in it absolutely for the fun. The problem is when you get to that, you've got the basics nailed. You start learning about defensive and offensive assists, and you get that nailed where you can see them all the time. The problem then is, how do you take the next step? And really, all you can do is just do it at a pace that suits how you want to play.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's what works for me, because I absolutely could, study lots and play it, half a dozen times a week and get onto Blood Bowl 3. But I think I was trying to push something that wasn't ready for pushing.
Yeah.
And that organic growth is something that we come up with just for me, because I don't want to put the effort in, because it's not going to be a hobby then.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be a bit serious, and I don't want it to be serious. I still want it to always be fun. I think one of the other big learning things as well that I've taken away from the last sort of year, 18 months, is the dice of the dice of the dice, and you have to accept shit dice.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's
hard.
You can't
it's the toughest pill to swallow on earth, but the dice, as you say, are the dice.
Yeah, the number of snake eyes that I get, and ones and twos when your edge is 3, and it's just it's frustrating. But it's no risk, no reward, is there? Sometimes.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Yeah, I recently, in fact, I was messaging you. I had a game that just disheartened me beyond belief. Practicing my Davitational roster against a lovely guy, Richard, and his gnomes. And he's clearly studied them really well. He took the White Dwarf star player. So once per turn, he was able to give an adjacent player one of 6 skills, one of which was Dauntless, that he were using to absolutely annihilate me, strength 4 pieces. And I can deal with that. I can deal with removals, but one of the cornerstones of Necromantic Horror is the fact that the majority of the team has regeneration, and every single time he got a removal, they failed the regeneration roll. And I think by the end of the game, I had 2 dead ghouls, a dead werewolf, and a badly hurt flesh golem.
No.
All of which failed the regeneration rolls. And I think I admitted to you, Gary, that I think that I probably may have let my mask slip a little bit, because the thing with me is that I would never ever want anybody to think that I've not enjoyed a game of Blood Bowl with them because I've not won or anything like that, because that's not the case. I didn't ultimately enjoy that game, but that was just because, I don't know whether it's because I was tired from a week at work, but I let the fact that the dice were so poor get to me. And I hope that didn't take away from Richard's win. He beat me 2-1. He beat me fair and square. As you say, the dice are the dice are the dice are the dice. And I shook his hand and thanked him for the game regardless at the end. But that were a rough game, and I came away thinking, I just don't know if I've got stamina for this anymore. It was one of those games, mate, where I didn't even feel like I had a fighting chance to be able to win. Do you know? And I think those are the worst ones, aren't they?
And you've got to accept it. Absolutely. So I said that one of the guys that I know at the moment has gone through a bit of a rough patch, as it were. And again, I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to name any names. But they won a game recently, and I was just so chuffed that they got a game win, and they're playing me next, so so they'll get another win. They'll be happy. But for somebody, like say, if that happened to Brian, for example, he's such a lovely, laid back, chap. It's always so super positive. But even for people like that, if you get a run of really, really, really bad dice, and you go into tournament after tournament, and you're just not doing anywhere near the level that you can hit, it just happens. I don't know if you've seen it, but you look on eBay and a few of the other selling sites. There are a whole bunch of people, that put up, pretty much all of their teams saying that, I just don't have the time for the hobby anymore. And you can tell that they're just not passionate about it anymore because for whatever reason, it's just not doing it. And I bet you any money that some of those, not all of them, but some of them are down to, I just didn't think this game was what it has turned out to be.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it. If you haven't got a lot of time to play, if the one time you do get to play, your first roll of the game is a skull re-rolled into a skull, and then you roll double six on armor break and double six. You're gonna think, why did I even fucking bother giving up my free time?
100%.
Yeah, it can be very disheartening, and thankfully I'm surrounded by lovely people such as yourself, mate, that told me to give me head a shake, and it didn't bother me for too long. And Richard, if you do end up listening to this, mate, I do hope you didn't think that I were being sour about not winning. I was just really frustrated with the regen rolls not going my way.
That's not what you said to me.
No, that's on All or Nothing After Dark bonus episode.
But the thing is it can, people can get a little bit, what do they call it? Not spiky, what's it called?
Salty?
Salty, that's it. There's that word, isn't there? That they can get a bit salty about, losing. And the thing is you don't know what's happened to somebody. Like you said then, that you've had a bad day at work. Has somebody argued with their missus before they got to the tournament? Are they, is their missus giving them shit for going away with the boys? Or, is something going on at home? You don't know, do you?
Nah. No, you don't know, mate. Best just to, like you say, the dice are the dice are the dice. Just got to accept it.
Cool.
So that's what we've been up to, mate. What are we going to be getting up to?
Well, we've got a tournament at the weekend. I've got a tournament, a little tournament on Friday night at Warhammer World.
Oh yes,
a sevens tournament.
Yeah.
So I'm going to that with Lee and Brian.
Very good.
Travelling up on Friday daytime. And then we have got the Davitational at the weekend.
We certainly have, mate. This will be the first time that we've seen each other since we first ever met at Belter.
There's going to be a lot of hugging. I apologise in advance, mate.
Yeah, just to give people a bit of a scope on mine and Gary's relationship. I'm sure people remember the episode not long after we first met. Gary just sought me and Steve out at the Bugman's Belter after listening to an episode at podcast before Gary were ever on them, if you can imagine such a time. And he just introduced himself, we got talking, we exchanged numbers, and since then, till about...
Not been able to get rid of you.
Yeah, about a month ago when I looked through our WhatsApp stats, and it said that we'd exchanged over 10,000 messages.
This is crazy. Yeah,
From February to, at that point, I think it was like the end of May, and it was like 10,700 something messages in our chat.
Yeah, it's well, mate, we've hit it off, and we get on great. We come from a similar cut of the rib, as it were, and yeah.
Birds of a feather. Birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah, let's not get too emotional over this,
Oh no! Save that for weekend, mate.
I feel like I'm cheating on Steve a little bit every time we chat, though.
No. Steve knows. I spoke to Steve yesterday. His schedule is absolutely mental at the minute, mate. And I just said to him, I says, "Oh, by the way, me and Gary are recording tomorrow." And I said, I didn't bother mentioning it to you because I know you've been so busy. And he just confirmed what I thought. He was like, "Yeah, I'm just too busy at the minute." So yeah, it's not that he's not been invited, mate. He would have. I told him he were more than welcome to jump on if we were free, but he just so happens to not be.
No, well, we're going to see him, aren't we?
We certainly are, because we've got Dave Invitational this weekend with just me, you, Brian, and Lee. Is that's only all of us, isn't it? There are actually. There are actually a couple of nomads in attendance. We've got Dave from Preston travelling down.
Yeah.
We've got Liam, who's coming from over Birmingham way, I think.
I think Alistair said he was going to pop his head in, wasn't he?
Yeah, Alistair's not playing. Alistair said that he is just going to bob in and say hello because that's the venue that he uses for his events, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if there were anybody else.
Can't remember. Apologies if we haven't mentioned you.
Yeah. If we have forgot, be sure to berate us in Nomads chat. I'll tell you what. It's been a 2-month break. Give people a little bit of an update on Nomads if they're not in it. It's still going very strong from strength to strength. More and more people getting added. I think we've got close to 80 members now, which is fantastic. We're still struggling to cover the northern part of the UK. It's still very southerner heavy, which, much to my dismay. So, yeah, the Nuffles Nomad, for anyone who listens to the podcast but is not in it, is a WhatsApp community centred around the Blood Bowl tournament scene. The idea is that we build a network of Blood Bowl players all across the UK, maybe even international. We've got a couple of guys in there from Spain, Norway, US. Not many of them, so there's not really much we're doing in those areas just yet. But the idea is to build a network of players so that Joe Blogs can join and say, oh, I'm attending this tournament on this day at this place, and I'm a little bit nervous about going. Is there anybody in here who fancies attending with me? And the vision is that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 nomads will reply and say, oh, yeah, I'll come. And it's all about, having that familiarity and some sort of relationship, albeit only over the internet with somebody, can help deal with some of the nerves or maybe even a little bit of social anxiety that you can get from attending your first tournament. Would you agree that was the same for you, Gary, when you started out?
Yeah, absolutely. I was lucky because I had people to go to tournaments with, so and not everybody has that. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes with that. It's not just attending the tournament; it's all the build up to the tournament.
Yeah.
Getting your roster sorted, picking a team. If you're fairly new to tournament play, having a chat with somebody about what's the best skills to take in this particular rule pack.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of stuff, and even having some practice games. So with I know we slated Blood Bowl 3 a little bit earlier on for the ladder, but the thing it's really good for is it's now got custom teams in there, so you can put your exact team, exact skills in there, and you can set up a casual game with people and have a few games practice with your tournament team in advance of a tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Nomads is still going very strong. It's hopefully going to get to a point where we might even start getting some custom dice and things like that, Gary. I know. So if you are interested, if it sounds like we've had an influx of new members recently, so if you are interested, I'll put it in the link to this episode. Just be mindful with it being a WhatsApp community. It does mean that your mobile number will be shared with the other people in there. So yeah, if that's an issue for you, I totally understand if you'd rather not join. But if you're all right with it, we look forward to seeing you in there. But yeah, that's a shameless Nomads plug out up there, mate. Let's talk about this coming weekend.
Okay.
We are going to the Davitational. For anybody that doesn't know, this is the annual tournament by Andy Davo, the gentleman who is most known for his team guides on YouTube, and he streams a couple of nights a week playing Blood Bowl 3.
I think it's more than that now, isn't it? I think it's probably 3 or 4 nights a week. He's on Twitch quite a lot, and he moves it over onto YouTube. I think once it's more than however many hours old.
Yeah, I think he's probably, alongside him and the guys at Bonehead, are like the two internet celebrities of Blood Bowl, aren't they, really?
Definitely from the UK, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%. Of course, from the UK. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to attract quite a lot of people, because it's got a name of someone who's quite popular against it.
Do we know?
120 people in attendance. So not quite as big as the NAF Champs, but considerably bigger than some of the smaller ones, like I think Bugman's Belter were only 76 people, weren't it?
Good question. I can't remember.
I think it were meant to be 80, but there were a couple of people that didn't turn up on the day.
Oh yeah. And I did actually play one of the staff that was a reserve.
So, in terms of this weekend, then, Gary, are you sticking with your humans?
Absolutely. Submitted my human roster.
Very
I'm,
nice.
I'm happy with humans, and it looks like as well. Which I was quite surprised at because I don't really know too much about the teams. Because really, all you tend to do in your first, I suppose, year of playing is you get fixated on your own team and you're trying to busy, learning the nuances of that. So humans was a relatively new team for me,
Yeah.
and now I feel like I'm going to say I'm not an expert coach with humans, but I've played them in a few tournaments. I'm playing them in the league now, and I'm taking them to the sevens, taking humans to the sevens, and I'm really comfortable with them. They give you options. If something goes wrong, you've got other options.
Yeah.
Apart from when you're playing Brian at Skavens. So I'm relatively comfortable. I'm sticking with them. Yeah.
Nice one. What did you think to the? Oh well, I'm taking Necromantic Horror,
Yeah.
which I did not realise would be as popular a choice as it turns out it is. I think I sent you the graph, didn't I, for how many of each team's been taken.
Well, I think we're taking the first and second most popular teams, aren't we?
We are indeed. Necromantic were first with 14 coaches taking them, and I think Humans and another team were joint second with 8, I do believe.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Necromantic are a popular team. I know that they're a team that Andy Davo likes to play, so I wonder.
NAFs, yeah.
I wonder if that might have influenced a few people's decisions.
I think they're just a popular team, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they are. I think once you get a decent skill pack, and you're a good solid necro coach, I think you can play them, and they can be quite strong. You can go deep into a tournament. I'm not good enough at playing Blood Bowl with any team at the moment to go deep into a tournament, but I think like Orcs, I really struggled with Orcs, which is unusual because they're meant to be really, really bashy. Obviously, I just wasn't playing aggressive enough. But Humans, I'm finding more success with them than I was with Orcs.
Yeah.
And I think the thing I'm taking away from that is just try different teams. Have a run. I think I was going to try and do sort of 4 to 6 months with a team, then change it for something else, and then do another 4 to 6 months and change it for something else, and try and get like at least sort of 10, 15, 20 games at least under my belt with a team. I changed it.
Well, before the Davitational, I say that before the practice games that I've had for the Davitational, I was on probably somewhere between a 40 to 50 game run of playing only Wood Elves.
Right.
So I obviously I'm laughing because I'm thinking of Sean who brings it up regularly, but obviously I came second at Bugman's Belter using Wood Elves, and I am fearful, given the fact that of this past 6 months or so, because things have just been so busy that I'm not getting to play as much. I'm fearful that I may start to use my knowledge of Wood Elves as a bit of a crutch and become a little bit of a one-trick pony. Now, I know that Necromantic Horror aren't necessarily worlds away from Wood Elves, but they're a step in a different direction, although it be still a semi-similar direction, because they're still quite fast. But there's different dynamics to them. You've got the frenzy and some board control stuff like stand firm and sidestep. So yeah, I'm just sort of like I'm de-dipping my toe from Wood Elves back into other teams for a little bit, and Necromantic are my second most played team. So it were kind of, for me, it was just a natural sort of like decision to say, right, I don't want to play Wood Elves all the time anymore. I don't want to become a one-trick pony. I'm gonna. So I'll go to my next most familiar choice, so it doesn't feel like too much of a culture shock. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. It feels a little bit like it would be a bit remiss of me not to call out for the listeners who would expect me to do this, that you're making excuses in advance of not doing as well as second.
I listen, and I said this before Bugman's Belter, that I will be happy. So there's 120 people at Davitational.
Yeah.
I will be absolutely over the moon if I can get in the top half.
Sounds good.
If I can win 3 games, lose 3 games, and finish middle of the park, brilliant, fantastic. I honestly will not be that. That's fantastic. Anything else is a bonus. And do you know what? Even finishing lower than that isn't that terrible. There's nothing wrong with that. And it opens up conversations of what did I do wrong, what went wrong, what sort of things to look at when I use Necromantic again at a tournament. So there is a win in every aspect, no matter where you finish, unless it's dead last. Because I don't know how you recover from that. But yeah, I like, it sounds like a bit hippy dippy, but I'm genuinely, it's been so long since my last tournament being the Bugman's Belter that I'm just looking forward to the weekend, mate. Just a crack. We surrounded by like-minded people, rolling some dice, whether they be good or bad, and just having some fun.
Brilliant. Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I'm you know what? I'm not even that bothered if I lose 6 games.
No, I think it was Brian I was speaking to the other day, or it might have been Sean actually, and I was just like, genuinely, I have never been looking forward to a tournament and the Blood Bowl itself being less relevant. Genuinely, it's irrelevant. I'm just so lucky. It's been so long. I'm just looking forward to meeting new people, talking to new people, seeing yourself after nearly 6 months now since we met. Meeting Brian for the first time in person, although he was at the Bugman's Belter. I don't think me and Brian crossed paths. But yeah, there's just plenty to look forward to before I even get to thinking about rolling dice. So any success on the pitch is just an absolute bonus.
I think we're meeting for Saturday morning breakfast, aren't we?
I think we are, mate. I'm gonna
come down on Saturday morning, aren't you?
I am. I'm gonna get up relatively early on Saturday. It's only, I think it's an hour and 15 minutes from me. So I'm gonna get up early enough so that I've got enough time to dump my stuff at the Airbnb where you and Brian will already have been situated. Dump my stuff. We'll nip out for some breakfast, line our stomachs, and then get to rolling some dice.
And I think there's probably going to be some good players.
Yeah, I think so. I think one thing we need to mention, though, is that I think me and you, we are the same tier, aren't we? Necromantic and Humans fell into Tier 3, didn't they?
Tier 3, yeah.
Which means that we got 1170 team value.
It was.
And 8 skills, one of which could be a secondary.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a lovely amount.
It's extremely generous. That's a really generous rule pack. I don't know if you're aware, though, Gary, did you know that they updated the rule pack a week before roster submission deadline?
No.
They didn't change any of the skills or the team value or anything. They adapted the stacking. Do you know the skill stacking?
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that you could stack skills at no extra cost.
Oh, right, okay.
But, I'm not that I'm speaking ill of anybody, but I didn't find out about that until the deadline had already passed for the roster. I wish maybe that had been announced somewhere, because maybe I would have taken some Blodge Werewolves instead of spreading my skills out across the entire team, or whatever. But, it is what it is.
So you can definitely start thinking about stacking if it's free, can't you?
When honestly, 9 times out of 10, mate, when it's not free, I won't even consider it. I'm the type of person I much prefer a bigger spread of skills than concentrating them on individuals. It's just the way my brain works. But if it's free, you're gonna at least consider it, aren't you?
Yeah, you've got to consider it, haven't you? Especially, but like you said, were you saying blodging werewolves?
Yeah, a Blodge Werewolf. Exactly.
That's nice, isn't it? That's nice.
So, what did you finalise on your roster at end, Gary? What are you taking?
I went. I'll tell you what. Let me bring it up on BB roster, because that would probably be a much better idea than me trying to guess what I've got. So I have got an ogre. I have got my 4 blitzers, which I think is absolute standard for humans. 2 throwers, 2 catchers, 3 human linemen, and a halfling lineman. I've gone with 3 re-rolls and a keg, 1 assistant, 1 cheerleader. And on my skills, I've gone with ogre guard, 2 guard blitzers, 2 mighty blow blitzers.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to miss my guard there. I'm not sure that's right. And then with my catchers, I've gone Nerves of Steel as my secondary and diving catch.
Oh, nice.
And then I've gone Cannoneer with the thrower.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, not convinced. It's been neither bad or good for me, Cannoneer.
Well, I suppose it's good or bad can be rated on just how often you're doing long enough passes to benefit from it.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, and obviously I've had to learn this, but there's 4 different distances, zones of passing. The first one has no penalty, then you get a -1, a -2, and a -3. And this Cannoneer gives you a +1 advantage on that third and fourth. The -2, -3 come down to a -1 and a -2. So at passing 2 with pass, throw in a long bomb. It's a 3+. With a reroll.
Yeah.
25% chance of failure. It's not bad, is it?
Not bad.
I think
Bad
it's 25%
at all.
chance of failure. I would. Well, it wouldn't be, would it? Because you would do a 50-50 chance to start off with, and then only if you failed would you have another 50-50 chance. So you actually have. But yeah, on the surface of it, if there were 2 separate rolls, it's a 25% chance of failure. But I think it just changes slightly because of the statistics, as it were.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
well, I think I can remember mine off by heart because it's pretty simple. I've taken 2 of every positional, so 2 werewolves, 2 wraiths, 2 flesh golems, and 2 ghoul runners, 3 linemen, 3 rerolls, and 2 assistant coaches. No bench, no substitutes.
Interesting.
Because I'm hoping that the regeneration is actually going to come good this time.
I'll tell you what else I've got is I've got a keg. Did I say I had a keg?
Yeah, you did. You said you had a keg.
Yeah,
you can't go wrong with a keg. I do like a keg.
I know loads of people love an apothecary, right? And I get it, but kegs just really worked for me really well. That 3 coming back instead of before has just so often worked for me really, really well.
Yeah,
and it's on everybody that's KO'd.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's fantastic. It's a great inducement. Yeah. Absolutely. But I mean, I can't take apothecaries anyway with necromantic. You're not able to take them.
Are you not?
No. They got the necromancer rules, haven't they?
Right. Okay. Cool.
Well, because everyone's got regen, you kind of don't need an apothecary, and then you can always get replacement players. Because when you kill one of your opponent's players, you roll to see if you resurrect them as a lineman for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in terms of skills, mine are pretty. I wouldn't say I'm happy with them, but I was even less happy with the alternatives. So I've taken block on both werewolves. I've taken guard on both flesh golems and guard on both wraiths, and then block on one ghoul runner, and then sure hands on the other. It would have been in an ideal world but it would have been block on both of the ghoul runners to have them both be blodgers, but the picking up is just so. I've just had my fingers burnt by it so many times. So I just start to take sure hands and just, have a designated person to attempt to pick the ball up. 3+. It's not a bad roll at all. It's a very achievable roll. It's just that I've had my fingers burnt by it so many times.
So much better with sure hands. So my throwers both have sure hands, you see. So
yeah. That's what I'm taking for next weekend, mate. Looking forward to using a different team. But we can actually talk a little bit further in the future than this weekend, can't we, mate?
We can, yeah. So I think Down in the southwest, I think me and Brian and Ed are toying with the idea of having a little bit of a casual get together with a few extras, and you may, if possible, try and get done for something. We don't know what, and it's all
Fingers
unofficial at the
crossed.
moment. Yeah, it'll just be a few mates sitting around a table for a day on a Saturday. So no, like official naff or anything. But more importantly, we're having a reunion, aren't we?
We certainly are.
In October, end of October.
We
So
are.
be
We've obtained tickets for the Full Beard Cup, and I'm happy to report that Steve managed to get a ticket as well.
it. Can't wait to see Steve. That'll be good.
Yeah, definitely. Fingers crossed, mate. You can, once his schedule clears up a bit, you can get him to attend something down there with you beforehand.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Yeah, that'd be lovely.
Yeah, definitely, mate. So
I
yeah,
always
looking
said
forward
to
to
him,
Full Beard.
I'm very much looking forward to it, mate. Yeah, very much. It's always the only thing I don't like about Warhammer, because obviously it's a brilliant place to go to, is the proxy teams. You know, you can't bring proxy teams, and I'm big into proxy teams. I love them. I do have a handful of Warhammer teams, but I just love my proxy teams, and I think by then I'll be getting to that point where I'm itching to go for the next team after humans.
Yeah.
So probably that will be either my last time playing humans, or I'll be starting with a new team that has to be a GW team.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I still have Skaven. For those that do listen, that Skaven team that I bought when I first ever went to my first ever tournament to spectate, and I bought it from Warhammer World, still haven't painted it. It's primed, and I can see it in front of me on the old the shelf of shame. It's primed, and I've got a Rat Ogre, I've got the Skaven expansion still, and I've got the Skitter model. All of them are unbuilt. Still haven't painted it yet.
Well, maybe the Full Beard Cup can be like your goal to get it painted for, mate.
I don't know if Skaven's on the list, as is Necro, but I like the idea of Wood Elves.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple of others that are on the list as well. So I'm loving the options with humans. But I'm missing the bashy little bit.
Yeah.
I'm toying with Tomb Kings potentially. Okay, Tomb Kings.
Interesting.
I like the idea of Black Orcs as well.
Really?
And I know I'm going to get shot for this, right? But I really like the idea of dwarves. Controversial, no. And the other one that's on my list is Khorne.
Khorne, yeah.
So those are on my list. I'm going to have to narrow that down over the next few months. But there's just such a wide variety of things in there, isn't there? So
yeah. I haven't even given an ounce of thought to what team I'll take to Full Beard Cup, if I'm honest with you, mate.
So it's humans for me at the moment, but I don't know if I'm, because the league will have been finished by then. I don't know if I'm joining the third season of the league, because it is every fortnight, and they're an absolute brilliant bunch of lads. But I just like it a little bit more casual, and I like the hit of a tournament. That works for me. The 3 games in one go.
Well, like we've said plenty of times, mate, that people engage differently with this hobby. People get the buzz off of different things. There are people out there. I mean, think of Matt. Matt absolutely loves League, and he's not a fan of tournaments. I think you mentioned, didn't you, mate? Like that. Yeah. That's just the way he likes to engage with the hobby, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's just different to how other people like, and no two people are exactly the same. Even two people who exclusively play at tournaments can be different. Some, one of them might prefer 1 dayers, another one might prefer a 2-dayer, or a third person might prefer team challenges. It's such a broad spectrum of what people like to get out of this hobby.
I tell you what I do love, and I actually, because I did my first league online on Blood Bowl 3, on the PlayStation, didn't really enjoy it, and I thought it was a bit impersonal. But being in a local league, I really love just being able to sit across the table from somebody and having a game, having a bit of banter. And I've really actually enjoyed League. And the thing I do like and hate about League is the fact that you can develop your team. But there's
Yeah.
nothing worse than when they bloody get killed. You'd spend, you've got, a player. You've not really been able to farm too much, any too many SPP. And you've got this player. Not only have you got one skill, you've got two skills. So the perfect skills. He has a star game for you, and then bloody somebody kills him, and it's like,
Yeah.
I've spent half the season developing him, and he was my star player, and he's gone. Like,
Yeah.
There is just no let up, is there? It's
No.
brutal, League is.
No, it's awful. It's horrible.
Yeah, at least with Resurrection in the tournament, if you get pitch cleared, I've still never been pitch cleared yet at this time. If you get pitch cleared, at least the next game you're back to your team again.
Yeah, that's it. Every single game is like a clean slate, and you stand just as much chance as anybody else.
I tell you what, I was going to get into this in a minute, but I'll do it now if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sevens. I quite like the idea. I've had my head turned a little bit by. I like the idea of playing a little bit more sevens.
Sevens is great, mate.
So I think I'm going to over this next 6 months explore it a little bit, have a bit of a research, and potentially, I don't know if it works well for League or whether like an evening 3-game tournament set up work. I don't know. I'm going to have to learn more about it. But I'd like to do a bit more sevens because it's a bit more chaotic. It's quite quick turnaround, and the games are because the rerolls are twice the amount. The rerolls are just very rare. So you make a mistake, it's turnover.
Yeah.
So I do like that. And this sevens that I'm playing at Warhammer, apparently after the first game, one of your players gets a skill.
That's how a lot of people work player development in sevens, as opposed to SPP. A lot of them scrap that, and you just randomly roll for one player to gain a skill.
And you just pick a skill.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
But Alistair's at that sevens event, by the way.
Is he on Friday?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, fantastic! I love
he messaged in Nomads saying anybody travelling for Day Invitational at weekend, anybody travelling up a day early, he mentioned that there were the sevens event, and I just replied saying that I can't travel down the night before, but that you guys were attending. So keep your eye out for him, mate.
Yeah, will do. I think he does all right there, doesn't he? I think
he's
last time, didn't he?
Yeah, he's done quite well with it, so far. But yeah, I love sevens. Love sevens. It's so it's perfect. And I'm saying this, but Blood Bowl itself is perfect for if you fancy playing a quick game, because it's far quicker than some of the Games Workshop's games. But if you fancy a quick game of Blood Bowl, but you don't want to commit to 11s, and you don't fancy playing it on Blood Bowl 3, because their games of 11s on there generally only last, an hour to an hour and a half or whatever, it is perfect. You can definitely get a game of sevens done if you've got two people who are, more experienced players who play at similar speeds. I've had a game of sevens done in 40 minutes.
Right.
It's you could quite easily get you and 7 mates together, so there's 8 of you total, and you could all play each other. Like you could keep rotating until you played every single other person in that room, and you could do that in one evening, which is great.
7 games
easily.
You could never get 7 games.
I bet you could.
Day, you mean?
Nope, in an evening. I'm telling you.
This is me we're talking about, the slowest in the world.
Well, I said to you, I says, shall I bring my sevens pitch? Because we're obviously sharing an Airbnb at weekend. So shall I bring my sevens pitch? And if his brains aren't too fried from playing it all day, we'll have a game of sevens in the evening. So are you telling me is this part of your plan, Gary? You're going to have me up until 3 o'clock playing one game of sevens so that I'm knackered for Sunday and lose all my games on Sunday? Are you trying to sabotage me?
Mate, if our records are similar at the end of day 1, and there's a chance, even a slim chance, that I might end up playing you on day 2, that you are staying up drinking really heavily with me until 4 o'clock in the morning playing sevens, and I'm going to drag it out over one game, make it really infuriating, and I'm going to play, innocent. Oh, I didn't mean to do that, Baz. Ever so sorry, mate. And you'll be going to bed fuming, not getting any sleep. You'll wake up and you'll play 3 bad games on day 2, hopefully 1 against me.
I mean, that would be good. Can you imagine if on Saturday then they organise the first game that's random? Can you imagine if I'm on table 23 and you say, oh yeah, me too? That'd be great.
That would be bonkers.
What fun.
I don't think I have been to a tournament yet where I've played somebody I know. And there are people I've played repeatedly, across different tournaments because I play in the Southwest. But I don't think I've played anybody that I know at a tournament, I don't think.
No, I don't think I ever have. No,
Yeah.
I don't
Obviously,
think I have.
I know some of those people now. But yeah. Funny.
See, we obviously not a really good chance because there's 120 people, but there's you, Brian, Lee's coming.
Yeah.
I've got Richard, the guy who I played against Gnomes. I've got Colette, bless her, but just a quick shout out to Colette. All the tickets for David Tational were sold out, and the reason I didn't get a ticket originally is because this weekend was originally booked up and I wasn't able to attend. My weekend became free, and Colette is helping to organise the David Tational. I'm not sure in what capacity exactly, so apologies, Colette, if you're listening to this. And I just happened to mention in our league group chat, she were playing in a league I was running at the time, that I wish there were tickets still on offer because the weekend had become free. And she said, if you just bear with me a second, I can sort you a ticket out because there's like half a dozen people who have been chased for payment who haven't paid. Yeah. And within 30 minutes, she messaged saying, if you put your payment through now, I will sort it with Andy personally to make sure that it's all confirmed. And she got back to me. I sent the money and she got back to me and said, big thumbs up, you're all confirmed.
Fantastic. I think there's still spaces, I've just looked on the attendees, and unless the attendees list just hasn't been updated, it does look like there is a handful of spaces. Not many, but a few. Yeah,
I wonder if they've knocked a few people off who didn't pay. Shout out to Colette for sorting me out with a ticket. So there's Colette there. Some people might know her more by a NAF name. NAF name is Cauliflower. Who else have we got?
Yeah, she's on there.
There's Dave. We've got Dave travelling down from Preston, who's at Nomads. We've got Liam. So although I don't know them because I've never met them in person, that it would be interesting to get matched up with her. So, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 6 people out of 119 that aren't me that I could potentially get matched up with that I know.
Nice.
So we'll see. I don't know if it's actually better or worse to get matched up with somebody though, to be fair.
Well, all the people I know are all better than me, so no, it's not good for me.
Can you imagine if you match up with Brian and
he wipes the floor with me again?
I was just going to say, and he goes for 6-2 again.
So at the NAF Championships, I know it's very, very cheeky, and apologies, Ed, for calling you out on it, right? But he said to me at the end of day 2, at the end of day 1, it didn't have a very good first day, by all accounts, by his standards. And he said, as long as I just finish higher in the final standings than you, Garrett, then I'll be all right. I'm going to be devastated if I don't. It's a good job I've got broad shoulders, Yeah, cheers, Ed.
Yeah, basically what Ed said there is like, Gary, we both know your shit. I should definitely be finishing above you.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, success for me at the David Tational is just not coming. I tell you what would be really annoying, coming second last and not getting the wooden spoon.
Yeah, because at least if you come dead last, you're going away with something.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know if Andy's got a wooden spoon.
Maybe.
We shall see.
I do know that we're getting a goodie bag though.
Are we? Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know if there's any? He doesn't mess about, does he? He's obviously made a social media following for himself.
Yeah.
Do you know if we've got any stores or sponsors or anybody else turning up?
I don't think we have, mate. I think I asked Colette, and I think that's probably boils down to the fact that the venue has its own shop on site.
Ah, right, cool, yeah.
So there were, you could potentially buy something, but it might not be from one of the Blood Bowl brands, like your Charlie Victor or anything like that?
I've got a couple of things I want from Charlie Victor, you see. So, and I've only just put an order in recently, but he went and bloody released more stuff, didn't he?
Typical.
He's got a version 3 of his ball marker, which has just got a bigger interior ring, so that if you've got the rings on, it fits inside it.
All right, okay.
Very, very, very first world problem, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'll tell you one thing to mention. I had a conversation with Steve, and he mentioned that in the build-up to Bugman's Belt, not Bugman's Belt, sorry, the Full Beard Cup at end of October, he would be interested in doing kind of like a get ready with me for a tournament sort of like mini series on this podcast.
That's a brilliant idea.
He wants to sort of like go through basically the process of picking his team, talking about painting it a little bit, and then what skills to give it when we figure out what skills we get and all that business. He basically wanted to do a sort of like because it's good. Yeah, it's going to be a totally brand new team for him. Like, he's going to pick a team he's never played. It's going to be one that he has to buy, build, paint, and learn how to play, all before the Full Beard Cup. So he just mentioned potentially doing a couple of episodes on Here With Us, and just talking through a few things. Cool. So yeah, I told him we'd be more than happy to oblige, mate.
So if there's any sponsors out there that want to get him an official GW team.
Yeah,
it'd be greatly received for Steve.
Absolutely. I think he's probably going to go with Necro. I know that he. I think so. I think Necro were a team that he toyed with taking to the Bugman's Belter in Feb, but he ran out of time to finish getting it painted, so he just ended up bringing Imperial Nobility because he already had them painted.
So has he got a Necro team?
I do think he has.
Oh, nice. Yeah, nice. I think the only team that I've got that is official, that is unpainted, that I haven't used is my Skaven team. I've got a few other teams. I've got a Black Orc, Goblins. Oh no, I've got a Goblin team as well, but I just don't have any of the secret weapons, which I'd want to take.
Yeah, you need all the bells and whistles for them guys, don't you?
I've got Dwarves, Khorne, Black Orc, all proxies. Interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting.
Is other than the Davitational this coming weekend, and obviously Full Beard Cup back at the end of October, have you got anything else in your calendar, Blood Bowl wise, mate? Or
don't think I have.
No?
Don't think I have. No.
So maybe you might have had a busy first half of the year, but maybe take it a little bit easier in second, maybe.
Well, potentially. So I don't know if you were aware, but me and Lee and Brian were toying with the idea of the Euros, and because we couldn't get a reliable fourth that we absolutely wanted to share a B&B with at the time, we didn't bother applying for any tickets.
Yeah,
just for the Open, obviously not for the proper competition. So we didn't bother going. So we left it, wide open for the second half of the year. So August and September are a little bit blank. I think there is a guy. So the guy I was talking to you about earlier on, Banjo from Plymouth.
Yeah.
He's doing a tournament, I think, down in Plymouth in December, which I'd love to go to. He's got a special star player that he's going to print out for everybody. That's a snowman that you can stab with the carrot nose, and he's also got a bomb, which is a yellow snowball.
Brilliant.
Which I think thematically, it's just hilarious. As well. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, nothing else in. If David's going to do something in November, then I'll probably pop along to that one as well. Don't know if he is or not.
I think hasn't David got a tournament in Liverpool?
No, it was cancelled, unfortunately. So anybody that
I thought right, okay, never mind. I thought that the venue just got cancelled and he were finding another one. I didn't know he'd scrapped the tournament altogether.
No, that's a good point. So I don't know. I have not spoken to him. So yes, you're absolutely right. I'd heard the venue had ceased to trade. I think they stopped
Yeah,
trading, which is
yeah.
a real pain in the backside. But I'm sure there's plenty of, if you wanted to, there's plenty of venues in Liverpool that would maybe be suitable.
Anfield.
Well, I don't think he would. I don't think he would want it there. I think he's more of a. I don't think he's a football fan, but I think if he had to pick, I think he'd do more blue than red.
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah, I'm a red. I'm definitely a Liverpool fan.
It's fucking wrong side at Pennines anyway, that, mate. None of my business over that way.
You Marmite muncher, you. It's not Marmite, is it? It's Bovril.
Bovril.
Yeah. I've not had any of that Bovril since I tried it.
Oh, so you were just pretending to like it.
It's Bovril, isn't it?
Oh dear me! Is there anything else you want to mention, mate, or have we covered?
Well, the only thing that I can think of, which we're not prepared for, so we can't do it today, but somebody did ask if we could do a bit of a chat about imperial nobility.
Yes.
So I think maybe we should pick a couple of teams. So if anybody else has got another team, and we can look at the pros and cons of maybe two teams and do two teams at a time.
Yeah. We'll
Also,
start something.
I think some of the nomads have put their hand up for coming on and guesting on a future podcast, which I think we're quite looking forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. More the merrier.
And I can't think of any tournaments. It's not because there isn't any. It's just because I haven't had my eye on the prize, as it were, because this last 6 week has been non-existent for me. Let's have a quick look down the old list. There's a whole bunch of things going on.
Oh, I tell you one worth plugging for anybody who lives up north.
Up north.
The UK Team Challenge in York.
Oh yes.
I would love to tell you the date, but I've totally forgot it.
I know when that is. It's the 24th of the 8th.
There you go. So, yeah, if you and a couple of mates want to test your mettle against other teams of Blood Bowl players, it's a really high-regarded tournament, that one. A lot of people speak very highly about it, and it may be one that I have to get in the calendar for next year. I think. Maybe try a team challenge next year.
Yeah, and I think there's a few others, isn't there? There's, I think one of the guys posted about beer bowl tournament.
Yes.
In the upcoming tournaments, I think.
That was Tobias. That is this Saturday, actually.
Is it?
Right, it is indeed.
There's the Scottish Team Championship that I think Ben was talking about. It's not going to be until May next year in Glasgow, but again, it's a team thing. Teams of 4, tickets £180.
Yeah.
2 days of gaming. And then I think a few of the others in the Nomads are starting to organise tournaments. Like
absolutely.
I think the Brum one is again. Is that?
That's Liam's organising that one, isn't it?
The Brum one, is it called Thunderball?
That's the one.
Yeah, he's doing that one, and I think Alistair's always organising stuff, isn't he?
Yeah, Alistair's got Bad Luck Bowl coming up, hasn't he?
Bad Luck Bowl, that's brilliant.
I'm not sure, again, I'm so out of touch with when stuff is. That's coming up soon. But I'm fairly certain it's either sold out or very close to selling out. So if you do want to go to Bad Luck Bowl, I'd display your interest very soon.
I think the full beer is already sold out, hasn't it, at Warhammer World?
It did indeed. It's sold out within 11 hours. But it still didn't sell out as quick as Strangle Bowl that is on the same weekend.
Right. And that's big as well, isn't it?
It is indeed Strangle. I think for a lot of people, it were going to be one or the other for Strangle Bowl or the Full Beard Cup.
And I think the fact that you can't play with proxies at Warhammer World does put quite a lot of people.
Exactly.
I say a lot. I can't quantify, whether that's.
No, I think you're probably right. And I think for me, would have absolutely loved to go to Strangle Bowl. However, if I had to choose, I will choose any excuse to go to Warhammer World, mate. I just love the place.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good
What
venue.
else?
Really good venue.
Anything else coming up? Has anybody else mentioned anything? I know that Hammy just did the Geordie Bowl, didn't he? And he did quite well.
Yeah, that was good. A good success, I think, by the sound of it.
Yeah. But no, I can't think of anything else coming up.
I think we have definitely come unprepared about advertising future events, haven't we? So maybe we'll have to step up our game.
Yeah, it's first one back.
Yeah, how frequently are we going to do these, mate? Because I think we got to the point where we were doing them almost every week. I think we just found that it was just too much, didn't we?
Yeah, I think that moving forward, All or Nothing is probably going to switch to a monthly episode. At the very least, maybe fortnightly. It's just, it puts a lot of pressure on figuring out exactly what to talk about if you do it every week, especially if between episodes we've not done anything. If between episodes we've not done anything, Games Workshop haven't announced anything, or anything like that, we've just got to think of interesting things to talk about. And let's face it, Gary, we're just not very interesting people, are we?
Well, we do like to have a bit of a giggle. So for those people, and if you look at the stats on the episodes as well, all of the more serious things have been the most listened to, haven't they?
They have indeed.
All of us messing about, which we love to do, have not necessarily been the least, but they definitely haven't been in the top 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think even in the 2.5 months that we've not done an episode, that risky business risk management episode still gained another 200 views. Listen, sorry. I think so.
That's bonkers, isn't it? So maybe what we need to do is we actually need to do a spot on on some of the statistics and the risk management.
Maybe so.
Now that I know a little bit more.
Yeah, be interesting. Definitely.
Cool.
But yeah, it's the...
pleasure.
Oh, as always, mate. As always. Like I said, we talk every day anyway, so this is just like any other night for us, isn't it? An episode like this, just chatting shit with each other.
If only we could tell everybody some of the other stuff that we talk about, but maybe on another episode.
Maybe. Like I say, we'll have to start All or Nothing After Dark for some of that.
I'm game. A bottle of tequila each before you start recording.
Brilliant. Well, on that note, mate, unless you've nothing else to add, I'll sign us off.
No, it's been absolutely brilliant coming back and sharing everybody my Banjo Dan story, which obviously has been a highlight for everyone.
Oh, absolutely, mate. Well, on that note, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you very much, if you're a returning listener, for your patience during the 2.5 month sabbatical. Hopefully, with the changing configuration as to how often we're going to do episodes, we won't go on such a long break in future, and we can continue to churn them out at the new rate. But yeah, thank you very much for listening. Please check out the link in the description for this episode if you are interested in joining the Knuffles Nomads. I did the whole shameless plug for them in the middle of the episode as opposed to at the end, which has kind of thrown my outro out the window a little bit. But yeah, thank you very much for listening. New episodes, and more new episodes, should I say, coming very soon. Thanks, guys.